Hey everybody, welcome to My Open Movies. This week we are technically continuing our Alfred Hitchcock month, but we are dusting off an older episode that used to be behind the Patreon paywall about the kind of classic Alfred Hitchcock spy movie, The 39 Steps. This is a masterpiece, and unfortunately it's harder to find than it should be, but it is a delight because it is Hitchcock and we are continuing it. So if I suddenly sound like 6 years younger, that's exactly why. So thanks for rating and reviewing and doing all you do to keep us on the charts. We appreciate you. And check out the link tree to find us in places you have not found us before. Thanks, everyone.
Hello and welcome to Mission Briefing, your everything James Bond podcast on the Myopia Network. This is your host, John Copsey, and with me on panel today are...
Hi, this is Nick, host of Myopia and Riffer on Cineprom.
And I am Jeremy. That's it.
Just Jeremy.
Yep.
That's all you need.
That's all.
If you don't know him, you're missing out. And so today, Nick and Jeremy and I, we watched The 39 Steps, the 1935 Hitchcock film based on the book of the same name. Very little relation. As a kind of a proto-Bond, if you will, that I'll let the panelists speak as well, but to me, this had many of the early elements of what would become a James Bond film, only this was made 30 years prior. It was a very vague, subtle plot, non-existent, some would say, and it dealt with a lot of the tropes that Hitchcock is known for. It's the everyman on the run. It just had a lot of the elements that we're all used to and that we love, and there's a lot of things like the cringe-worthy scenes and various period-specific things that were normal for the 30s that just wouldn't fly in the 60s, let alone in the 2000-somethings, that I'm sure we will get to, and then some. But who wants to do the plot summary?
Well, I mean, I will say it probably should be Jeremy, if only that he was the only one with a good copy of this. I mean, this is a real fuck Jeff Bezos situation where John and I tried to watch the Amazon Prime version, and Jeremy, just as a aside, there was a watermark that kept appearing in Law and Order, like YouTube. But I will also say, as I guess the host of the main feed, this is the oldest movie we will probably ever do. This is an 85-year-old film, so good on us. And then, of course...
You really can't get much older than that.
No. We'll start riffing the Lumiere brothers or something.
Look at that fucking train coming right for us.
Next up, Metropolis.
Hey, I'd be more than happy to do that one.
M. Do M. I mean, you want to have a great horror, like, the spy... You know what? I'll announce it. Next year, we will do something that's a little bit creepier class. I mean, M would be a great choice, right?
It would be.
Yeah.
The serial killer, you have a spy element. You've got... that's cool shit.
All that casual racism.
Oh, I mean, the most casual of racism. This one bothered to have a woman. My goodness. And Scottish people?
What's the world coming to?
I know. I guess we'll eventually get into the distinction between an espionage thriller and a noir, because that's kind of what this battles. But Mr. Rigel, why don't you take us away here?
Yeah, so the fairly simple plot, which I don't say that as a negative thing, because I mean, it makes it easy to follow, which a lot of spy movies are not easy to follow. Our main character, Hannah, is going to a theater to watch a guy who supposedly knows millions of facts. So people ask him questions and he'll know these things that usually no person would know off the top of their head. While he's answering questions, 2 shots ring out in the theater. Everybody runs away in a panic, at which point a mysterious woman attaches her... Yeah. A woman seemingly takes hold of Hannah and says, "Hey, I need to go with you." And this being a Hitchcock movie, he says, "Hey, it's a beautiful woman." Sure. She takes this mysterious woman up to his apartment where she says she is trying to.
Syphilis.
Yeah, back in those days, where she is trying to stop someone from smuggling some, secret formula or plans out of the country, and she needs his help, and off we go.
Yeah, the main character is someone who, if you like old black and whites, you may have seen before. In fact, you may have seen this movie before. We chose this because it may be old, but it is a classic, right? But the main character is a guy named Robert Donat. Who God knows if I'm pronouncing his name right. But he appears in a lot of these movies from the 1930s. But frankly, not that many. I think he only has something like 20 film credits. But he always plays kind of, for lack of a better term, like the handsome devil type. Like, I'm a good looking dude.
Yeah, he pulls that off.
I mean, and again, like to say that we might eventually do The Man Who Knew Too Much, like Jimmy Stewart 20 years later is the same kind of character. He's just handsome, he's suave, he's kind of goofy because this is also kind of comedic, but he's also in The Count of Monte Cristo, he's in Sabotage, he's in The Citadel. I mean, you if you like movies from the 30s, you've seen him because he always plays the suave, like Goodbye Mr. Chips. He's kind of in like that's a classic. I don't think he, after World War II, he acts anymore.
Well, it's funny. I'm looking through his Wikipedia, and so he was a stage actor first, because of course most of these early actors were. But it looks like most of the films that he was in were like these classics, like Count of Monte Cristo, The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Oh yeah,
Henry VIII, very Shakespeare kind of things. He's a very pretty man, obviously, but I can see why his career didn't go very far.
Yeah, I mean, and by what I'm looking at his IMDb now, by the time he hit 51, his career's done. He does 2 movies after that, but like between 32 and 51, he's in about 18 movies, and then he's in 2 more. Like he lives till 1960 almost. He doesn't.
No, so he was in competition in the 1939 Academy Awards for Best Actor against Clark Gable for Gone with the Wind, Laurence Olivier for Wuthering Heights, Jimmy Stewart for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and Mickey Rooney for Babes in Arms.
And he wins in
That's quite a gathering, yeah.
And he wins the next year with Goodbye Mr. Chips. Like he's a good actor. And it's funny because in this, again, compared to some of these heavier movies, this is, for a spy movie, light at times. It's very silly, like especially when he gets handcuffed to the femme fatale for the last act of this. It becomes very silly, and his like clear lack of control over the situation becomes evident to everyone in a few very funny scenes, which we'll get to. But
yeah. I mean, well, let's kind of pick it apart from the beginning. So, what did you guys think of the Memories show that starts off? Like, it's very, I don't even know, theatrical, very Victorian almost.
Yeah. So, to fill in what between John and Jeremy said, the kind of it's also funny because it seems like it's somewhere between, like a theater and like a bar, because people are heckling the show like they're drunks at one of my shows.
It's like what do you call it? Vaudeville.
It's very vaudevillian.
Yeah, vaudeville. Yeah, like if you have dancing girls before or after, which I think after they shoot the guy at the end, the stage manager says, "Bring on the dancing girls! Bring on the dancing girls!" as this guy is dying on the stage.
And instead, like, because again, you're right, it's a vaudeville, and if you're going to do a burlesque show and there's going to be like, Radio City Music Hall-esque dancers kicking, and a jazz musician, you don't follow it up by the whitest human being who's ever been. I mean, and this is for you to do a North Country accent, John, but like his name is Mr. Memory, and he comes out with like practically a monocle and a cocktail. It's like, oh, I say. And the caller is like, he learns 5 new facts every day and commits them to memory, and he remembers them all. And there's this poor Potts who wants to know what causes Pippin chickens.
I expected him to say, "This is a serious issue. My chickens are dying."
It was a very strange scene, obviously played up for humor.
His jacket. My chickens are dying of pip.
And meanwhile, his wife is just nudging him like, he doesn't care about that. Stop asking him that.
Meanwhile, Y is adamant that he has to know how old Mae West is.
Well, he has to be kicked out, doesn't he? Because he keeps screaming, "How old is Mae West?"
Which is a very Chekhovian thing, because eventually our hero gets kicked out for yelling the answer. Dude, the end of this movie is so good. Also, if you haven't seen this, whether or not we recommend it, I guess we'll get to, but it's only 87 minutes. We might prattle on longer than that. Like, this...
Really, you could probably skip the middle third and not really miss much.
Dude, when the Scotsman starts slapping his wife, we're fine. Like, he told me... Yeah, I sleep no...
Wow. Yeah, that was rough. At least they didn't show it, but oh man. He walks off screen and she starts screaming.
But there was a subtitle for the slap.
That's right. They called in the Foley artist to slap her, but you got the sound.
I mean, so they're asking Mr. Memory to prattle off whatever facts they can, like who won the racehorse out of the Derby in whatever year, and who wins it next year. Oh, I'll tell you. They get really rowdy, but for some reason, as we're told later, someone decides to fire a gunshot and causes a stampede. And we find out that it's this femme fatale, this woman, Annabella Smith.
Yeah.
She joins up with our hero, Mr. Hannay, just outside, and she says, "Take me home." And he says, "Well, it's your funeral," which I guess is funny. And she confides in him at his apartment that she's being followed by two people and she needs a place to lay low.
Right.
And his apartment is apparently the perfect place.
And then she dies.
But she, in the most mysterious, someone stabs her in the back in his apartment, I guess, but doesn't bother to stab him, or they get in and out without him noticing. They don't actually say how she died or who did it.
Well, eventually we kind of come to suspect that it's the 39 steps, which luckily, thanks to a gunshot, we don't have to hear any more about. And we don't even, and I may have entirely been like, I don't even know what, but like, do we know what happened? Like, when is the 39 steps actually mentioned the first time? By her when they're eating that cod or whatever?
I think she mentions it, that it's something to do with the 39 steps. But I don't think we know what it is until the very end.
That's my understanding too. But I mean,
because for a spy, she's very open with Hannay about what she's doing. I've got some information. Someone's trying to steal something to help with the war effort or something, and we need to tell the authorities. Oh, by the way, I'm dead.
Yeah, right. And like, again, we have to emphasize the fact that this whole buildup is, beautiful woman grabs onto your arm and says, "Help, some men are after me," and he's just kind of, playing the good card, pretending whether or not he believes her. And then there are two men standing under the streetlight just outside of his apartment, so they've also now followed him.
And the phone keeps ringing, which is very Hitchcockian. Like the phone keeps ringing, and she tells him, "Don't answer it. It's people you don't want to talk to."
That's right.
So you've got no sound, no dialogue. Meanwhile, this phone is just ringing occasionally, and it stops the conversation dead in its tracks. So you can definitely see a lot of Hitchcock's elements, even in this 1935 film, which is, I think, well before he's really known, right? He really comes into his own in the 60s, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, he starts directing, and this is all on Jeremy here to help me.
Which is why I asked for Jeremy to be here.
Yeah, apparently this was his 22nd movie.
Good lord.
Yeah, he, of course, is British and started his career there. This was his first big American breakout, so he wasn't really known prior to this.
And I believe it's one of the older films of his that we actually still have, because a lot of his stuff from the 20s is lost. It's that kind of old BBC-ish, like, well, I guess we have film and no one else cares about this stuff, so let's just record over it. But by like the late 20s, his films are starting to become international. This is his first one with any real budget, if I recall correctly. But like, he makes movies up until the 70s. Not to mention a TV show that we have bits of, and footage that has come out in the last 30 years where he was doing like stuff during World War II that has only been re-released recently, including like surveys of concentration camps and shorts for like anti-German propaganda in French and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, he has a million film credits. Never won an Academy Award, which tells you shouldn't care about those things.
Fun fact,
Well,
when
then
he
you would-
was presented with an honorary that full Oscar, basically a lifetime achievement, his entire speech was simply "thank you."
Have we got Jeremy?
He got up,
Yeah.
said that, and walked off,
I'm not hearing him.
which is perfect.
Well, and it's appropriate for who he was, because like at that point, like the honorary Oscars is always like a, well, I guess we fucked up kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because, but I mean, and it's even Scorsese waiting for The Departed. And I like The Departed, but he should have won 20 years before with Goodfellas, right? Like, it's kind of just like a, look, I guess finally someone bothered to rent my film from Blockbuster. Congratulations. Yeah, by that point, you didn't need to convince Hitchcock that he was one of the greatest of all times. Like, the Animaniacs had already parodied him by that point. He also bothered to remake his own films, which I kind of like. Like, he remade, like, I think 2 of them. The Man Who Knew Too Much, he remade. And he remade one other one that I'm forgetting.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. North by Northwest is basically this movie too.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right, Jeremy, what's next?
So the woman is dead. And based on the information she gave him, including a map with a place in Scotland circled, he says, "Hey, let me go there, figure out who she was trying to meet, so I can warn this person about the information that's going to be smuggled out and save the day." But this being a Hitchcock movie, nothing goes according to plan. First stop is a train station where he finds out he is already in the papers as being listed as a murderer. So there's that.
Well, and the other thing we have to mention at this point is there's a man who's missing the top third of his pinky finger that is the head of whatever this secret organization is. Right? Like, he's the master of disguise because, again, this is a movie. It's not going to let you forget that it's a movie. And because it is a movie, they will remind us that impossible things are impossible. And the impossible thing that is impossible in this point is the finger man can look like anyone. And in fact, I believe he's played by several different actors throughout this movie, as long as he's missing that little fingy bit. And so after a weird night in Scotland, in which a Scotsman is Scotsing around, like, it's a very weird scene. And it goes back to the whole Scrooge McDuck like thrift thing, I guess. Because he's like, I'll let you in my house for the night if you pay me in advance, but don't sleep with my wife. And the dude's, he's like, excuse me? Is that your sister? And she goes, no, that's my wife. Just like, oh, right there, McGregor.
That's where you got to ask, has something like this happened before?
It's a very interesting scene. I just don't understand where it fits in really to the greater scheme of things.
There's like a honeypot going on that we just don't know about. Like, oh, God help me. And she's just there in her, like, her house dress, like, would you like some food? And like, this Scotsman just keep peering around corners. Like, is he in his own movie? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he's like definitely the total cliched Scotsman. I mean, just the man's eyebrows are its own character.
But it's funny too, because it's as though Hitchcock has heard of Scotsman but never seen one. Because you're right, like it is like the total Scotsman character, which it is, but it's also like the same character Fred Armisen would play.
Yeah.
Oh, God help me. This part of the movie in particular, I remember being like, buddy. I was a loss. Anyway, turns out the Scotsman is, I don't think he turns him over like to police, but they're looking for the 39. Like those dudes just kind of show up, right?
Yeah, they just, well, I mean, based on the area they're in, it seemed like that was literally the only house in the entire area. So that's the first place, well, first and only place to look. Like they're there even before Scotty McScotsman calls the cops.
That's exactly right.
So the cops arrive at the one place in the entire region, and and for reasons unbeknown to us, the wife just says, "Yeah, I'll help you escape." Probably because she hopes he's going to take her with him. Because, God, that husband is horrible.
That Haggett motherfucker is a horrible human being.
Yes, but yeah, he leaves solo, and later the husband slaps her for it, which, I mean, as you do, I guess. And he is running away to, and this is where he actually goes to the cops himself, yes? Or this is where he goes.
That's correct.
This is where he goes to the professor.
This is where he goes to the villain. Yeah, the professor.
Yeah, the one other house in the entire region. How convenient. And yes.
I believe they had a helicopter chasing him at one point, didn't they?
Ooh,
So it was almost north by northwest. Like they've got the police, they've got the dogs, and then they've got a helicopter flying over these moors.
That 1935 helicopter, oof. That effect was, oof. Yeah.
Height of technology.
I mean, again, we mentioned like the Lumiere brothers. Like this is like, oh no, a train. Like this is, you know, man, just work on your dolly shots. You'll figure it out, little Alfie Hitchcock. You got this.
Yeah. This was like a radio controlled airplane against a painted canvas.
Oh no, look, the Jerrys are coming. Like,
did you like the sped up effect from the like the police chase homes through the rivers and stuff? It made it look like a Marshall's or something. It was ridiculous.
Was he afraid that the film might run to 88 minutes if it normal speed? I mean,
it didn't cut much down, did it?
oh,
but you're right. He does go from like the one house on the moors to the second house on the moors, and the police just wander away. Like he goes to the door and tells the maid, "Tell your master that I'm here," and then the next scene we get are the police coming to that same door and the maid saying, "No one's come by. No, you're wrong. Goodbye." If I were the police, I'd be finding her very suspicious.
that's right. Yeah.
This was a simpler time, I guess.
Well, that was the other job of maids, to lie to the police.
Yeah, really. But this is where we meet the professor, who's having some sort of party. Was it a birthday party for his daughter?
Story we're told, yes. Although I don't think we actually see any of it.
Right. So, we're introduced to the guests.
and none of whom are the daughter's
And
age.
it's not like streamers.
They're all old people.
Yeah, no, it's all the father's friends. Yeah. It's like the daughter, the sister, and then the mother, and the judge and the sheriff. Things like that.
Basically, the
And-
entire population
Yeah,
of the
the
town.
sheriff, obviously, it seems like it. Yeah, like where do all these people come from? Yeah, the professor shoos them all away, and Hanny says, I'm here because of Annabella, and she said something was going to happen, and I'm after a man who's missing part of his little finger. And the professor holds up his hand and says, like this? Yeah. I mean, to me, this was one of the most James Bondian scenes of this whole thing. You've got the disfigured villain, and they have a gentleman's conversation. Like, this guy says he really doesn't want to kill Hanny, so what are we going to do about it? And he's like, well, you could just go away, just disappear.
Or you can kill yourself.
They have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a gun. Here's a bullet. Just go for it. I'll turn my back.
And in what is, again, a very comedic scene, the shot is fired, but it just happens to hit a hymnal that the Scotsman leaves in his breast pocket, right?
And so this is where the wife gets beaten. The bad guy shoots Hanny. Hanny falls down and he fades to black, which I guess is very similar to Hitchcock's to Psycho, where you assume that the hero has just died. Only in this instance, he doesn't, because the bullet hit the hymnal of the Scotsman that was in the breast pocket of the jacket. And so Hanny dies, and then we cut to the Scotsman saying, wife, where's my hymnal? Oh, it was in the breast pocket I gave to that guy. And he just looks at her and then walks off scene and beats her. And then the next scene we have is Hanny holding up the bullet in the hymnal, and he's talking to the sheriff. Apparently he was just left on the floor or whatever, and he ran off to the sheriff, and he's telling the sheriff this whole scene.
Yeah, there's a Shawshank Redemption-esque scene somewhere where there's just like a corpse pile, and he had swam for a quarter mile through a corpse pile and ended up here. Everyone has a good laugh at the corpse pile, and then they move on. But I mean, like, well, that's kind of what it is. It's just like, well, that's funny. I have a murderer! Gasp! He was tricked. That's kind of how this movie goes.
Judging from all the Scots that we've met so far, it doesn't surprise me. They've all got a corpse pile out back.
There's one thing Scots hate, and that's other Scots.
They're ruining Scotland. And so here's another twist that we're introduced to. So he's told the sheriff everything, and he's like, okay, so now what? And the sheriff says, okay, so meet my friends, the police. They're going to haul you away back to London for this crazy, crazy crime and for murdering the woman in your apartment. And these aren't the sheriffs. They are, or they're not policemen. They're
right.
The bad guys. And they somehow found, what's her name from the train? What was her name?
No freaking clue.
Pamela?
Yes.
But drawn, yeah, on. Yeah.
Very. And so somehow they tracked her down, and they handcuff the two of them together and say, okay, we're going just to the next police station. It's only going to be 20 minutes away. Oh, actually, it's going to be 2 hours away. Well, actually, we're going to London. Well, actually. And so the woman starts getting more and more suspicious over who these people are. And Hanny's freaking out, saying, these guys are the spies who are trying to kill me. But we get the situational humor of our hero is literally handcuffed to the blonde bombshell and trying to convince her that he's innocent, while at the same time she's trying to run away from him.
That's correct. And like the whole rest of this is a kind of two-hander with them barely escaping, trying to trust someone, barely escaping, trying to trust someone, as we try to figure out what is actually going on, which honestly we don't know. We get elements at the beginning, which is that there's information that's about to leave the British Isles, and we don't know what that means or where it's going, but it's supposed to be at this place in Scotland, and the only thing that we find there is a debutante ball, and a man missing half a finger. After the two of them get handcuffed together, they escape, but it's a matter of trying to still figure out the crime, and we really don't know what's going on.
We don't know. Hanny doesn't know, and I guess maybe that's part of the point that we are in just as much dark as the hero is, which I guess maybe that's what they're going for. But it doesn't really help us that we have literally nothing to go on other than he's running away from everybody.
Yeah, that's theme throughout the whole movie is that each scene isn't so much to progress the plot forward. Like, as much as I love the dialogue, it's like, okay, what is this in service of? We just go from place to place. Hanny gets caught, escapes, goes to another place, gets caught, escapes, and we're wondering where this is leading because we're not necessarily learning anything at each stop.
That's correct. And the other side of it is we're not sure what he's figuring out. It feels much more like he's obviously trying to get away from stuff. He's trying to get away from stuff. He's trying to get away from stuff. Oh no, they're right behind me. But like, other than the fact that the two of them are becoming like closer, clearly more intimate, it doesn't seem like he's uncovering more.
No, and so he's just running away from the police or the spies or whoever, and it's just, I guess if this were made now, it would be set piece after set piece after set piece. In between him escaping from the sheriff and being conjoined to the woman, he literally jumps out a window and runs from the police and ends up in a political rally where he's mistaken for the speaker. And so they kind of shoo him on stage, and he just ums and ahs and says, oh, yes, my dear friend is going to do this, and he's going to do that. And the crowd is really into it. And they say, and what's his name? And he has to kind of guess as to what this guy's name is. And I forget what he says. It's something
Like McCrocodile.
or something.
McCrocodile,
yeah. And of course, the guys are waiting there to arrest him. And it's like that scene serves no purpose other than comic relief.
Dude, again, it seems like at one point Alfred Hitchcock had a speeding ticket and tried to go to court one day to get out of it. And there was just a series of unfortunate events. Like since all of this stuff is so, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And part of me is wondering why he kind of takes up this cause. Like, he has no idea what's going on, but he's basically risking his life to investigate it.
I mean, Jeremy, it's a hot blonde. I mean,
true, yeah.
Well, even before the hot blonde, it was a German brunette.
I'd say I'm doing something for an erection. You know what?
It's like, but it's an interesting thing that no one believes him at all. Like, even the first person he meets after the German woman is killed is the milkman. He's trying to escape, and he tells the milkman, a woman just died in my apartment, and there are two men across the street, and they're trying to they're stealing state secrets, and I need to borrow your coat. And the milkman just laughs him off, and then Hanny says, well, actually, my mistress is upstairs, and her husband and brother are out front. I need to sneak around. Oh, well, why didn't you say so? Come on. It's the same thing with the woman from the train. Like, he tries telling her when they're handcuffed and they've escaped. He tells her what is going on, and she's just like, yeah, pull the other one. And so he says, actually, I'm a murderer, and I'll murder you too if you don't do what I say. And then she goes along with him and falls.
Yeah. I almost would say, so we'll talk about this movie, like our final thoughts at the end, but like, I almost wish we had cut out some of that middle section and gotten directly to her so we knew less about what the actual story was. Like, I just want him on the back foot constantly. Like, as though the first thing that happens is he enters a taxi cab with a murdered person, right? And the woman falls out dead and he has to immediately start running. Because the rest of this, the only thing that set up that matters, of course, the only thing that matters is Mr. Memory. Other than Mr. Memory at the beginning, right? Like, the middle part of this is just like a whatever. And yet you can tell this is important. I mean, listen to previous episode on the main feed, The Fugitive. But there are some shots here where they're even doing a long shot of a waterfall and the guy is hiding just beside it. Like, you might as well just have the sheriff go, I don't care. Check every Scots house, Irish house, Welsh house.
Well, there can't be too many more. They always check two. Well, actually, they eventually checked 3 because the third place in Scotland is this inn that they stumble across, and the innkeeper mistakes them as a newlywed couple, and because they're handcuffed together, they have to hold hands, or her hand is in her pocket or something, and they pretend they're newlywed, and of course, oh well, we've only got the one room left, and it's only got the one bed. And the blonde suddenly gets a very panicky look on her face. Oh, my morals. Oh. And even the innkeeper says, I presume you are married, right? Well, yes, we just got married and we're on our honeymoon.
Typically that they eloped, that they're running away.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And so the innkeeper's wife is all into them, and the innkeeper is a little suspicious.
I think the wife is okay. The husband is suspicious, which is something we get it reestablished later when again, like very noir cop-esque figures show up. You know, the trench coats, the fedoras. You know, if it was the 1990s, it would be dusters. I mean, I guess this will come out in time, but I was rewatching Hocus Pocus. Speaking of dusters. And there's a fuckhead who's a shaggy blonde character who ends up being like harassing our main character. And he's got blonde hair and they're clearly smoking weed in the cemetery. It's like the first act, or I guess the second act of the movie, right? And his name is Jay. And he's with a fat brown haired dude who's wearing a duster with like a pork pie hat on, and I was like, it's 1993. You can't name any blonde characters Jay when they're clearly smoking weeds in a cemetery. Like, I mean, I do like the idea of a Jason Mewes extended universe, especially opposite Bette Midler, or being seduced by 1993 Sarah Jessica Parker. But still, like, you can't. You just can't do that nonsense. My daughter was okay with that movie because it had a talking cat in it.
Yeah, really. I think we were all a little okay with it.
Yeah. I mean,
fine for the night.
It's someone with a toddler at home. It's something I can throw on. Although I keep pointing out to Candace that Poltergeist has the same rating. So, you know, can we watch Poltergeist? I love that tiny woman.
I think that would go down differently.
I do love that tiny little woman who just goes, "Child.
This house is clear."
She's my favorite character in almost any movie. Oh, child, looks like you've had Taco Bell. Like, it just you can use her for anything. Oh my god, it's the best. It's a Tobe Hooper movie, isn't it?
Allegedly.
It's a shit. Okay, so it's a Spielberg movie. It's 100% a Spielberg movie, but
Yeah.
So
It is, yeah.
that's one I could just throw on any time of the year. I love that movie. I mean, I guess we're talking about Hitchcock. I would throw out to Psycho. I love me some Psycho. What's your favorite? Honestly, gentlemen, like if you had to pick a favorite Hitchcock film, what would it be?
Rear Window.
Rear Window?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yes.
See, like, because like I think his best film is Vertigo, but maybe it's just the time of year. But like, I love Psycho. I absolutely adore Psycho. Like, and not to say I don't like the Rear Window. The Rear Window is perfect. It's maybe the most chamber drama of a chamber drama. Like, you want to talk about a character who literally can't do anything about what he's witnessing. Like, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What was the one with it was like a apartment party and they stashed the body in a table or something, right? Rope. Yeah. Oh, that
awesome. I like Dial M for Murder. I like Notorious. Notorious is good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's funny because at some point he proves that he could direct anything. Because, like, for example, A Strangers on a Train, I love, but like that's a Twilight Zone episode. It's 22 minutes, and he turns it into an incredible movie-length movie. Right? I don't know of anyone else who could have done that. And like I said, no spoilers here, but you mentioned North by Northwest, which is excellent. The Man Who Knew Too Much is excellent. I don't like The Birds. I think The Birds is fine, but it's a little bit too cheesy for him.
Yeah, it's a fun movie, but it's not high art.
No. Well, a lot of these other ones, like Spellbound. Like, if you haven't seen Spellbound, it's incredible. It's made with no money. It's 1945. Like the war is just ending, and yet he makes this like psychological thriller. Rebecca's good. Like I'm just flipping through his filmography, and I'm just like,
I don't know. Rebecca, I thought was pretty boring. I was not a fan.
Well, the remake's coming out in about a month, so
right.
Yep. A Netflix original.
Netflix needs to stop doing anything other than releasing like of the streaming services I have right now, my favorite recently honestly is, I mean, for Naomi it's of course Disney Plus, but like for me it's HBO Max because they actually have movies on it.
Yeah.
Actually have things. Oh, I mean, it's a time of year where I dust off my old like Friday the 13th collections and stuff. But if I want to actually just say, hey, hey wife, have you not ever seen this? Let's watch something. It's got to be HBO Max because Netflix has one of them. Like she had never seen Silence of the Lambs till this year, and we watched it, and she loves it, of course, because how could you not love that movie? But that's the only film on Netflix other than Poltergeist that I have any interest in rewatching. Stop making shit. You used to you replaced Blockbuster. Just show me old things. Right? Oh, hell. I mean, and again, the tragedy is that it's actually becoming Blockbuster. And I'm like, great, now I can choose between the Jurassic Park movies and Back to the Future. And that's what Blockbuster was. You just pick which Zemeckis film you wanted to watch. Like, which thing done by the Weinstein Company do you want to watch this week? They never had art films. They never had anything like truly unique. But, fuck it. I guess that's where we are.
No.
Bring me out of this rut, John. What's next?
Oh yeah, so now we're introduced to the sexual tension of the movie, where because they're handcuffed together and there's one bed, and they are, I guess they waded through a river or something.
He waded through a river of shit for quarter mile before he got freedom.
And so the woman is continually trying to undress or get dry. Like the innkeeper's wife says, "I've got a nightgown for you. Just take off that dress." "Oh no, I'm okay. Thank you. Oh, I need to take off my stockings. Here, let me do this." Because they're chained together, like his hand ends up on her knee, and she's constantly trying to shy away. And he's like, "Let me help you with that. I can help you." They end up sleeping in the same bed, and I forget what he says exactly, but I know at some point while they're chained together, he makes a mention of you're the white man's burden. And I almost had to pause it and just take a moment, just because that was the most cringeworthy phrase to say.
Yeah, that.
If only I could civilize you.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Let
and
her-
watching that scene, I did get shades of It Happened One Night, which came out a year earlier and swept the Oscars. So I'm wondering if they were kind of going for that vibe. The whole
I'm not familiar with that one. Tell our
that one, God, it's been ages since I've seen it, but it's Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, kind of similar. Like it's a screwball comedy, like a road movie kind of, and the whole thing is about sexual tension. Like she's an heiress who's run away, he's a reporter following the story, and the whole time he's trying to fuck her. Like there's literally one part where they share a hotel, and like she has to put a bed sheet in between, like hang a bed sheet in between them so he won't cross over. And the end of the movie, it's her taking the bed sheet down, which implies they're about to fuck. So
well, but like to your point, I mean, I guess I made the joke earlier about Kevin Smith, but like you also get the feeling with them as directors that if he wasn't directing, Hitchcock was just watching every movie that was being made, right? Like he spoke a language that was film. And so yeah, of course he saw that movie last year. Right? Like of course, of course that's what he did. Of course that's what's going on here. It's like, I mean, for him, it's probably as much of a nod as anything. Because remember, this movie came out 15 years into his career.
You think by now he'd know how to do it.
But it's funny to say that because that means he lived through 4 generations of film, right? Because he did silent era, he did the black and white era, he then did the color era, and then he came to the United States and did the like kind of the golden age of Hollywood studio system era. Like the dude like just kept doing this, which is great.
No.
He even did TV, right?
Well, he did, yeah. Well, he pretty much created what we think of as a modern director and a lot of the modern cinematography.
Yeah, a lot of the old directors were basically just directors for hire. You know, they would finish one movie, the studio would give them a script and they'd do it. They didn't really have much of a choice. Hitchcock was the kind of one of the first ones to put their stamp on it. So he got to, pick his own projects that fit his style rather than just doing whatever studios told him to do.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I don't think I buy into auteur theory, but like if you wanted to start auteur theory at a punctuation mark, right? It's kind of him, right? Like he's where you go.
yeah, even though this is one of his first notable movies, I mean, just by watching it, if you had no idea, you would be able to tell it's Hitchcock. There's so many things that what he's known for that even if you had no idea about this movie, you would know it's him.
I will say the only thing that's missing is that in a later film, he would have made himself the bartender. Right?
Right. Although he was in this film. He was in this. He was a member of the audience when the gun in the front went off, but he was also in the first scene, but he was also a guy, he was one of two people who was waiting for a bus and they were talking about something. And so they were very briefly on the screen while Hanny was passing.
Good. Okay. But I mean,
so there you go. So he's already established that for himself.
yeah, his iconic acting status. I mean, he really is the Kevin Smith of the 1930s.
And the 40s and the 50s.
We all remember the scene in Marnie where he's selling weed on the corner. I say, motherfuck. Yes, yeah.
Classic line.
Hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. But I mean, the scene that really sold it to me, I know we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. There's only like 10 minutes more of the film. But that when we first meet the villain, he's talking to Hanny, and when he gives himself away, shows that he's missing that finger. We have an over-the-shoulder shot looking at Hanny, and you see the hand raise directly into the camera, and he's missing his pinky finger. And like it's a very tense, like you see Hanny's reaction to it, and I don't know, that just screamed Hitchcock to me.
Yeah, and he does a lot of these. Well, and you mentioned Psycho earlier. I think the most iconic shot is the eye in the peephole, right? Which, considering there's that like 1990s remake that's effectively a shot-for-shot remake, that is, I think it's terrible because Hitchcock also understands his medium well, and the original Psycho works exactly because it's black and white, right? Like, if it was a color movie, he would have done different choices because that's what a good director does. Every medium matters. But the most iconic shot, which everyone gets and everyone rips off, is that eye shot, right? Where there's that eye peering through the peephole that's behind the shower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's incredible. It's a masterful shot. And he's there even here, right? It's the over the eye. It's around the corner. It's looking down the pipe. It's, and considering that he didn't have good cameras and they must have been huge, there's a lot of great eye work, right? Which I think is his trademark. And I guess further his trademark is something ripped off kind of by Kubrick. It's the peering down, right? It's the, I guess what they now call the Kubrick glare, which we start to get elements of here that we'll eventually also get in Psycho, right? It's the kind of, the camera is up looking down at people, making expressions to add tension. We get it from Pamela when she's at the second floor at the Scottish, or at the inn, watching the people from the 39 Steps talking. Like, it's dramatic, it's sharp, it feels Hitchcockian 30 years before Psycho almost, right? I think Psycho's 63.
Yeah. And so actually that scene, which is actually the next one in the progression, that one had me openly thinking, oh, this is really just a noir film, but instead of gangsters, it's spies. And because it's something that you could easily see a Humphrey Bogart playing in, and which I think was about the same time, wasn't it? It was a couple years after this that Casablanca.
Casablanca is early World War II, right?
Yeah, I think that was like 42.
Yeah, so this is 35, so it's not far off. Yeah, it's not far off. I mean, yeah, and she, common sense being what it is, these spies are talking openly in an inn over the phone about their plans,
That's
and like loud enough that she's on the next floor and she can
another one of those convenient plot points.
subtlety hadn't been created yet. And so they're saying, oh yeah, they mistook us for the police, and we'll actually need to go down to the Palladium in London, and we'll meet you there. Oh, the chief has left? Okay, so we'll just meet him there, right? Okay, great. And they're nearly given away by the innkeeper, because the spies ask, has anyone come by? This is the only other place in town. Has any couple come by? And the innkeeper says, oh yeah, we might have had another couple. And the innkeeper's wife says, no, don't give them away. Go away. Shoot.
Yeah, I think
Actually, I think she was more upset that he was serving them alcohol after hours. Than
the lesson of this movie is always trust a bored Scottish housewife. They will help you out in any situation.
Yeah, really. Lesson learned, I guess. And the movie just kind of skips around at this point. Like, all of a sudden, we're in London. Like, we took the entire movie to get up to Scotland. And the very next scene, they're in London. Like, she says, oh, I believe you. And Palladium in London.
With
For the
Mr.
final
Memory
third.
back. Apparently he's touring.
Well, she goes to Scotland Yard and says, I guess she spilled the beans, and Scotland Yard tells the Ministry of Air, and the ministry says, no, nothing's missing, go away. And I guess somehow she manages to convince them that, oh no, they think Hanny is going to be there. And so they follow her to the Palladium to catch Hanny, who they think has secrets. And at the Palladium is Mr. Memory, and he's going to speak. And so the police are surrounding the place, and they're stopping people from leaving, and they're moving in on Hanny, and they grab him. And right as they grab him, Hanny calls out to Mr. Memory, what are the 39 steps? And he says something stupid. The 39 Steps are a spy organization from...
that are funded by the foreign government of BAM. And it turns out that he's not bulletproof. He didn't learn that trick.
The other lesson of the movie, always carry your with you, or else you will...
He wasn't an Anglican, that's the problem. Tragically, he was a Catholic. And
Yeah, and so the professor killed him. I guess the professor was going to smuggle him out of the country. And rather than have him give away the secrets, the professor killed him. And because police are everywhere, he's immediately caught. He actually does a John Wilkes Booth where he jumps onto the stage and the police surround it. and I guess the curtain falls down and that's when the stage manager says, bring on the dancing girls. Get us out of here.
start fiddling, damn it. Start fiddling.
Before he dies. Phil. And right before he dies, Mr. Memory says to Hanny something along the lines of, did I get it right? And yes, you did.
Yeah, he explains like the secret
Spine.
formula that makes engines silent, which I guess is what they would retrofit airplanes with to make them stealthy or something of that nature.
Yeah, I guess. It's the typical Hitchcock MacGuffin that it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it literally really does not matter at this one.
No. The chase is over. He's been proven right. He and what's her name from the train, they hold hands and fade to black, and you're over. It's like, oh, they fell in love. That's nice.
And that's kind of the end, right?
Yeah,
that is the end. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I literally, like, that scene is, I would say, first of all, I think it's the best scene in the movie, of course. But it goes, you hear him like getting wrestled over what is the 39 steps, and the guy just lights up. He goes, The 39 Steps are a secret organization run by the foreign government of BAM! And it's such an iconic, like, it's everything you'd want it to be. It's so perfect.
Well, to be brutal, it's the only scene in the movie where nothing Agler happens. I mean, watching it and kind of in hindsight, like, I get vibes of the Bourne Identity. Like, it's our spy on the run, and he needs to prove himself right, and the last scene he will be proven correct. And this does it, but unlike the Bourne Identity, like, we're literally going from household to household. And other than the scene chasing on the moors, which is more comedic, nothing really happens. He's just seducing housewives.
I mean, and?
Well, Sean Connery would be okay.
30 Sean Connery is what, like, is like 22, 23? No, he's probably younger than that. Because when he was Bond, he was what, his early 30s? The first time, that's 62. But, like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he was 5 years old when this came out.
Oh, good.
He was already, getting his whiskey in the bottle.
I mean, as an Englishman, I'm sure you also have a positive view of the Scots.
Oh, absolutely, as they may, right?
Yeah. Let's finish this out.
Yeah, I think the podcast is going about as long as the movie itself, right? If not longer. So let's kind of go around the horn. Jeremy, give us your thoughts as to...
It's a fun movie. It's a nonsensical movie. It's something where if you just go along with it and don't think about it too much, you'll have a good time. It's not one of Hitchcock's best, but I just think, yeah, it's really fun especially if you have the subtitles on. Because, man, there's a lot of dialogue and it flies fast. But, yeah, don't think about it. Just watch it and fun stuff.
I did especially like with having the subtitles on when no one speaks for 5 minutes, but the subtitles have already loaded the next line. So the one line just stays there for 5 minutes.
God.
Nick, how about you?
I will say, ironically, I mean, of course, by this point, you've either done it or you haven't. But, like, this is one where I'd listen to the episode first, because I think sometimes it's hard to figure out what's going on. But that's not to say I wouldn't recommend it. I absolutely would recommend it. It is breezy, it's fun, it's silly, it's stupid at times. Like, but you have to remember the other side of it. Like, there is I believe, a 2004. No, that's not true. 2000, maybe 2001. Bill Murray movie called The Man Who Knew Too Little. It's not a good movie, but it's the same kind of idea, just comedically. Like, he doesn't know what's going on and he's trying to survive, and like the tricks that he's doing to get out of situations are the kind of thing that you do when you're pretending to be a spy at like age 6, right? Like, he's paying a dude to wear his milkman's jacket. He's like, He trades coats with people as though no one would recognize that stupid mustache he has.
He's sitting on other people's shoulders while wearing that trench coat. He'd make himself seem tall.
It works, right? Like, that's the thing. It works because this is a cartoon movie. Like, if the main character was Bugs Bunny and it was done like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's the same movie. Like, but that being said, I enjoyed watching it. It flies by. It's 87 minutes. And yet you could somehow cut some of it. I agree with Jeremy, though. He remakes this movie 30 times, and it's not one of his best. So it's kind of like you watch it because it's on Amazon Prime and you've heard of it before. We watched it for the exact right reason. But I mean, again, there's better ones of his to watch, but this one ain't gonna hurt you, so I'd recommend it.
Definitely, like this is not the best movie ever made. Certainly not Hitchcock's best one. But as far as an early spy movie, like I picked this one because I saw a lot of the groundwork for James Bond. It's like you're constantly fleeing from someone. You're always trying to stay one step ahead of the spies. You've got some secret that needs to come out. So in some ways, it is actually more like a Bourne movie than it is a Bond movie. but they share a lot of the same tropes. And I found it fascinating how this kind of straddled the line between noir and espionage. You've got the femme fatale who she's just as useless as most of them are in the Bond movies, but at least she's got some give and take. Like she fights back a little bit against Hanny, even though she ultimately has no real purpose. But like she's the one that turns him in on the train when they first meet. Like he forces himself on her, he kisses her. Like the trope goes, and the police wander off. She forces him off her, and then she calls the cops. It's like this guy's the asshole who just attacked me, and so she does have some agency, I guess. But what I didn't realize, doing a little bit of research on this, was that Mr. Haney himself was an early James Bond, that he was in 5 books as kind of this same character. Like he's running from spies and things like that. And they were written by this John Bucknan, who was the governor of Canada. So go figure.
Yeah, but they're Governor George.
There's some pedigree there, yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like I first came onto this because my dad loved it. Like he said this was one of the first spy books, and so I read the book, and it's just like the movie. It's a breezy 100 pages or something, and has very little to do with the movie. But it doesn't really matter. It is a fun little movie. Like it's Hitchcock playing around. It's spy movies playing around. It's just a fun thing. Like you said, if you've got an hour or so, just put it on in the background. It's not going to hurt you too much. No thinking required, which I guess is what we expect from a lot of spy movies.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing else to add, gentlemen,
No, I think we're good.
No.
I believe we're good. And so for those of you who've been keeping up, this episode was going to be us kind of giving our impressions of what the next James Bond movie would be, but that has unfortunately been punted to sometime in 2021. So we did not do that. We did something else. So whenever that movie eventually comes out, hopefully the end of the world will not be 2021, and we'll be able to give you that at some point. But keep an eye out for that. Until then, we look forward to seeing you, and we hope you look forward to hearing from us on Mission Briefing here on the Myopia Network.
Myopia Movies is a podcast production of Dude Letter Podcasting and is produced by Nick Hoffman. It is edited by Nerd Trinette and Daniel Sudis, and is hosted by Nick Hoffman, with production assistance by Matthew Quinn, Daniel Sudis, and Nerd Trinette. The theme song is Surf Shimmy by Kevin MacLeod from Incomptech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 4 license, Creative Commons /licenses by /4.0. Thanks.